The ball slapped against the cracked court in Frederiksted, each bounce echoing into the night. The backboard was chipped, the chain net rusted, but Jordan Parker made it his stage. With his left hand guiding the dribble, he spun through defenders, rose and flicked his wrist. The ball arced high, dropping clean through the rim at the buzzer. "Lefty!" someone yelled. "That boy dangerous with that hand." The crowd exploded. Kids ran onto the court, chanting his name. But Jordan's smile faltered as he glanced to the back fence. No mother waiting, no Marcia Parker in the stands, just empty space. He was used to it. At home, the kitchen smelled faintly of starch and bleach. Marcia sat at the small table, her work uniform still clinging to her, the day's weariness etched in her face. Jordan burst in, sweaty, clutching the latest edition of the Virgin Islands Daily News. "Ma, look!" He slid the paper across to her, pointing to the headline. "Parker drops 26 in semifinals." Marcia sighed, folding the paper. She didn't say much, but when Jordan left the room, she opened the drawer by her bed. Inside, a shoebox brimmed with clippings, neatly stacked, each one dated in her careful handwriting. She saved every piece, even though she had never once seen him play. Sometimes, when the house was quiet, Marcia let herself remember. The old high school gym, the echo of sneakers squeaking on polished wood. Darius Parker, tall and lean, his left hand curling around the ball, a grin spreading as he rose for a jumper. He winked at her as the ball swished through. "You see that, Marcia? Ain't nobody stopping me," he said after the game, draping his arm around her shoulders. She had laughed then, flushed with pride. Back then, she thought the whole world would bow to them. She'd be the model in New York, and he'd be the basketball star. Together, they'd shine. But then came the test she never wanted to take. The dropped classes, the whispers in the hallways, and slowly, the boy with the grin turned into a man with tired eyes and a bottle in his hand. She shook her head now, pushing the memories down like she always did. Jordan slammed the fridge shut, pulling out water. "Ma, why you never come to my games?" he snapped suddenly. "Everybody else's mom be there cheerin'. All I get is this box of clippings. I'm nothing like that man who was my father." The words cut. Marcia looked at him, really looked, and for a moment she saw it, the way his left wrist snapped, just like Darius's. "You look just like him sometimes," she whispered. Jordan stiffened, his face hardened. Don't mention him. He was a coward. I'll never be like him." "He wasn't always a coward," she said, her voice low, trembling. "He was just a boy who gave up." Jordan's jaw clenched. "Well, I'm not him. I'll never give up." He stormed to his room, slamming the door. Marcia sat there, staring at the newspaper headline, her chest aching. She whispered into the silence, "God, don't let me lose him too." In her nightstand drawer lay the letter, the one Darius had left the night he died, folded neatly with her name scrawled across it, "Give to Jordan on his 16th birthday." She had guarded it all these years, unsure if handing it over would heal her son or shatter him. She had held it for 12 years, waiting for the moment her son turned 16. Should I give it to him? Would it break him? Or save him? Meanwhile, Jordan pushed harder, practicing late, driving his left hand into the lane again and again. His teammates teased him about being all left, but he didn't care. His father had been a lefty too, the best scorer the island had seen. Jordan carried that torch, determined to burn brighter than the man who abandoned them. The night of the championship came. The gym rattled with noise, fans packed tight, banners swaying. Jordan jogged onto the court, his left hand patting the ball, his face set like stone. He scanned the bleachers out of habit, and then froze. His mother was there. She sat stiffly, clutching her purse, her lips pressed thin. But she was there. Jordan's heart leapt. He broke into a grin and jogged over. "Thank you for coming, Ma," he whispered. "I'm gonna win this one for you." She swallowed hard, her eyes wet. "I'm nothing like him, Ma," Jordan said fiercely. "I won't give up." For the first time, she believed him. The game boiled down to the final minutes. Everyone in the gym knew Jordan was going left. That was his move. That was his father's move. The defense crowded him, sometimes 2, sometimes 3 at a time. They trapped him near the sideline, hands clawing at the ball. But Jordan slipped through, pivoted, passed out, and the ball swung around before finding its way back to him. Over and over he escaped. Over and over he refused to be locked down. Then came the final seconds. Triple teamed, Jordan drove left again. He rose, flicked his wrist, and the shot rimmed out. Gasps filled the gym. But Jordan didn't stop. He sprinted back, cutting off the guard. In the scramble, the whistle shrieked. "Referee, foul!" The gym fell silent. Jordan walked to the line, dribbling with his left hand. He glanced once at the bleachers where his mother sat frozen, her heart in her throat. He bent his knees, flicked his wrist, swish. The first shot dropped. The crowd roared. He steadied himself again, bouncing the ball slowly, eyes locked on the rim. Another flick of his left hand, swish. The buzzer sounded. Victory. The gym erupted, teammates mobbing him, but Jordan only looked at one person, Marcia. For the first time, she stood and clapped. Marcia sat on the edge of her bed, the morning light slanting through the curtains. Her hands trembled as she slid open the drawer of her nightstand. The letter was still there, folded neatly, Darius's handwriting scrawled across the front. Give to Jordan on his 16th birthday. 16, just 2 days away. She could hardly believe it. Her baby, now taller than her, his voice deep, his shoulders broad. The boy she had raised alone. The boy who played basketball like he was born for it. But he was also Darius's son, left-handed, smooth with the ball. That same flick of the wrist, that same grin when he was sure of himself. Every time Jordan played, she saw the ghost of the man who had broken her heart. Should I give it to him? Would it break him? Or save him? She pressed the envelope to her chest, tears stinging her eyes. The weight of it seemed heavier than paper had any right to be. That afternoon, the court echoed with the sound of sneakers. Jordan pushed himself hard, sweat dripping down his temples. He drove left over and over, his comfort zone, his signature move. But the voices followed him. He never goes right. Lock him up. Force him weak side. He gritted his teeth, switched hands, and barreled to the right. It felt awkward, unnatural, but he forced himself again and again. He missed shots, stumbled over his footwork, cursed under his breath. Then reset. If he wanted to make it beyond St. Croix, he couldn't just be a one-dimensional lefty. He had to be more. That evening, the house phone rang. Jordan grabbed it, still in his practice shorts. "Hello? Is this Jordan Parker?" The voice was deep, firm, the kind that silenced rooms. "Yes, sir. This is Coach Daniels, head coach at Villanova." Jordan's breath caught. His eyes flicked to his mother, who froze at the sink, the dish towel dripping in her hands. "We saw your tape," Daniel said. "You've got raw talent, real fire. But raw isn't enough. If you come here, you'll work harder than you ever thought possible. Do you understand me?" "Yes, sir," Jordan managed. There was a pause, and Jordan could almost feel the man sizing him up through the line. "We'll send the paperwork," Daniel said finally. "Don't waste this chance." The line went dead. Jordan lowered the phone slowly, his chest pounding. "Ma," he whispered, voice trembling with awe. "It's real. It's really happening." Everyone knew who Coach Daniels was. 3 consecutive NCAA championships, a reputation for turning college boys into NBA players. Summers spent coaching the USA national team. Daniels wasn't just a coach, he was a gatekeeper to the dream. He was the coach every kid wanted, the one whose approval meant your life was about to change. And now he wanted Jordan Parker. The next day, Jordan was called into Coach Rivera's office. The room was small, lined with faded team photos and old trophies. Rivera sat behind the desk, arms folded, eyes sharp. "Sit down, Parker." Jordan obeyed, still riding the high from Daniels's call. "I heard from Daniels," Rivera said. "He wants you." Jordan couldn't hold back his grin. Rivera's expression didn't change. "But let me tell you something. You ain't the first island boy to get that call, and most of them, they don't last." Jordan blinked. "What do you mean?"
Rivera leaned forward. The problem with players from the islands is discipline. You boys think talent is enough, but when it comes time to follow instructions, to adapt, to sacrifice, you fall short. He ticked them off on his fingers. You refuse to adjust to the climate change. 6 in the morning runs when it's cold and dark, you quit. You refuse to smoke and drinking. You refuse to get up for class. And when it gets tough, you run back here to be just a local player. A big fish in a small pond nobody respects. Jordan sat stiff, heat rising in his chest. Rivera shoved a folder across the desk. This is your plan of action. Miss Jameson, your counselor, is expecting you tomorrow. Summer classes, tutoring, deadlines. You miss once, I'll call Daniels myself and tell him not to waste his time. Jordan stared at the folder, his smile gone.
Rivera's voice softened, just slightly. We got too much talent on this island to keep wasting it here. Take this information and do better. Don't be another story of what could have been. Jordan swallowed hard, finally nodding. Yes, coach. Then start proving it. That night, Jordan sat on his bed, the folder open beside him. Pages of assignments, tutoring hours, schedules, rules that looked heavier than any weight in the gym. He clenched his fists, torn between excitement and frustration. From the next room, Marcia folded clothes slowly. She glanced upstairs where the letter still waited. 2 days until his birthday. 2 days until the decision she had been dreading for years. She whispered into the quiet, Lord, give me the strength to know when the time is right. The next morning, Jordan walked into the guidance office at school. The walls were lined with faded posters about scholarships, study habits, and college prep. The air smelled faintly of chalk and paper. A desk sat in the center, stacked high with folders. Behind it, Miss Jameson adjusted her glasses and gestured to the chair across from her. I've been your counselor since the 9th grade, she began, her voice stern but steady, and this is only the 2nd time you've been in my office. For me to see you here, Jordan, it's got to be serious. Jordan dropped into the chair, restless. Coach Rivera sent me. She opened a folder with his name on the tab. He explained the situation. And I'll be honest, he's right to be worried. Your grades are barely holding. You've got potential, but potential isn't enough. Not if you can't stay disciplined in the classroom. Jordan clenched his jaw, staring at the floor. Miss Jameson leaned forward, her eyes sharp. Tell me something, Jordan. Did you ever think about how you were going to get to college playing basketball? Or did you believe talent alone would carry you? He hesitated, then said quietly, I figured if I played hard enough, somebody would notice. And they did. Coach Daniels called me last night. Her brows lifted slightly. Yes, and that's exactly why this matters. Opportunities like that are fragile. They disappear if you don't prepare yourself. You think a coach who's won 3 national championships will risk his reputation on a kid who won't open a textbook? You think he'll wait around if you fail out of class? She slid a paper across the desk. His GPA, low test scores, teachers' comments. The red marks stood out like wounds. You're walking a thin line, Jordan. Scholarships aren't just about what you do on the court. They're about proving you can handle what comes with it. Classes, travel, media, pressure. If you can't manage high school, how do you think you'll manage college? Jordan swallowed, heat rising in his face. I'm giving you a schedule, Miss Jameson continued. Tutoring 3 days a week, summer courses, study hours. And you'll check in with me every Friday at lunch. If you miss a check-in, I'll call Coach Rivera, and he'll call Coach Daniels. Do you understand me? Jordan looked up, stunned. Every week? Yes, every week. Her tone brooked no argument. Because there are other things you must prepare for. Media, public speaking, interviews. The spotlight isn't just about how many points you score. It's about who you are when the cameras are off. If you can't carry yourself with discipline, they'll replace you with the next kid waiting for a shot. Silence hung between them. Finally, Jordan muttered, Yes, ma'am. Her voice softened, just slightly.
You've been given a gift, Jordan. Don't waste it. Too many boys think they'll be the one to beat the odds. Most don't, but you can, if you take this seriously. She closed the folder with a snap. That'll be all. Jordan left the office with the paper crumpled in his hand. The hallway buzzed with voices, but all he could hear was Miss Jameson's words echoing in his head. Every Friday. Tutoring. Discipline. Prove you can last. By the time he walked home, his frustration simmered just beneath the surface. Marcia was folding laundry at the kitchen table when he came in. She glanced at his face, reading the storm before he spoke. "What happened?" she asked. Jordan tossed the paper on the table. "Counselor gave me a whole plan. Tutoring, summer school, gotta check in with her every Friday like I'm on probation." He shook his head. "She said I ain't ready. Said talent ain't enough. I already know talent ain't enough, but I just dropped 26 in the championship. I just got off the phone with Coach Daniels. What else they want from me?" Marcia picked up the paper, scanning it. Her throat tightened at the sight of all the red marks, the reminders of where he was slipping. "Jordan," she began carefully, "maybe this is what you need. Structure, a plan."
"I don't need no babysitter, Ma." His voice cracked with anger. "I just need a chance. Daniels gave me that call. He's the coach everybody dreams about, and now they got me feeling like I don't deserve it." Marcia reached out and touched his arm, her eyes soft. "Maybe they just want to make sure you're ready when your time comes." Jordan looked away, blinking hard. "I don't want to end up like him, Ma, sitting around talking about what could have been. I can't." Her breath caught. She knew exactly who he meant, though he never said the name. Upstairs, in her drawer, the letter still waited. Less than 24 hours until his birthday. Less than 24 hours until she had to decide whether to put Darius's words into their son's hands. That night, the pressure drove Jordan back to the court. The air was heavy and humid, the only sound the echo of the ball hitting concrete. He dribbled with his right hand, over and over, the rhythm awkward and clumsy. The ball slipped, bounced off his foot, skidded across the court. He cursed, chased it down, tried again. His jumper was off, his layup clanked, his rhythm was broken. He bent over, hands on his knees, sweat dripping onto the court. In the silence, a voice rose inside him, steady, insistent. "Breathe, relax. Don't be scared of the changes taking place. Don't you want to play for Coach Daniels? Don't you want to go to the NBA? Don't you want to take your mother out of poverty?" "Yes," Jordan whispered. "Then prove it." He straightened, steadied the ball in his right hand. Dribble, cross, hesitation. This time, he drove right, floated it off the glass, layup good. He reset, pulled up from mid-range, jumper clean. He stepped back, exhaled, and let the three fly. Swish. Jordan froze, chest heaving, staring at the net. Then, slowly, a grin spread across his face. "See?" he whispered to himself. "Change is good. You got this." The ball thumped against the floor, his right hand now moving with rhythm, smoother than before. For the first time, he believed it. The morning sun broke through the curtains, painting soft stripes of gold across the small kitchen. The smell of bacon, eggs, and pancakes filled the air, mixing with the sharp sweetness of fresh squeezed orange juice. On the counter, a lemon cake cooled on a wire rack, its buttercream frosting waiting to be spread. Birthdays in the Parker house were always celebrated at breakfast. That had been Jordan's choice years ago, when he was just a little boy. He once told Marcia mornings were his favorite, the start of the day when the world felt fresh and anything could happen. So she made it a tradition, birthday cake for breakfast, no matter what. Today was no different. 16 candles would soon be pressed into lemon frosting. But upstairs, the weight of another ritual lingered. Her mind drifted back to the night she first found it. She had been at her lowest then. No family to lean on, her parents having turned their backs on her the moment she got pregnant. The job at the grocery store had cut her hours. The eviction notice was tacked on the door for public humiliation. She had no one to call, no hand to reach for.
That night, desperate, she opened her old Bible, hoping for comfort in her favorite verse. But instead of the verse, she found the envelope tucked between the pages, Darius's handwriting staring back at her. She had wept for hours, clutching it against her chest, but never opened it. She told herself she would honor his words, his dying wish. She would wait until Jordan was strong enough to bear them. And now, 16 years later, the moment had come. The sound of footsteps on the stairs pulled her back to the present. Jordan emerged, tall, shoulders broad, his hair still messy from sleep. He stretched, yawning, and for a moment Marcia caught the exact tilt of Darius's head, the same flicker in his eyes. Her breath caught. "Morning, Ma," Jordan said, sliding into his chair. "Morning, birthday boy," she answered softly, setting his plate down in front of him. He grinned at the spread on the table, pancakes stacked high, bacon crisp, eggs steaming, orange juice glowing in the morning light. His eyes fell on the cake cooling nearby. "Lemon with buttercream?" Marcia smiled. "Your favorite, like always." He chuckled, then shook his head. 16, can you believe it?" Marcia forced a smile. "I remember when you were no bigger than that ball you carry around everywhere." Jordan laughed, but then his face grew serious. "I've been thinking, Ma, about what Coach Rivera said, about Miss Jameson. They're right. I can't just rely on my game. I gotta tighten up." He hesitated, then added quietly, "Coach Daniels didn't call me for nothing. I can't let him down. I can't let you down."
Marcia's throat tightened. She reached out, brushing his hand with her fingers. "You've never let me down, Jordan. Never." But her heart raced. The letter was still upstairs, waiting. She could almost hear Darius's voice whispering through the paper. Don't open until his 16th birthday. Jordan pushed his plate aside, his eyes narrowing. "Ma, something's wrong. You've been quiet all morning." Marcia's fingers tightened around her coffee cup. Her heart hammered in her chest. For 16 years she had protected him, shielded him from the shadow of his father, but she couldn't anymore. "Jordan," she began, her voice trembling, "there's something I need to give you." He frowned. "What is it?" She rose slowly, her steps heavy as she climbed the stairs. In her room, she opened the drawer one last time. The envelope lay there, worn at the edges, but the handwriting still clear. Give to Jordan on his 16th birthday. Her hands shook as she carried it downstairs. She sat across from him, placed the envelope on the table, and slid it toward him. Jordan stared. "What's this?" Marcia's eyes glistened. "A few years ago, I was going through a rough time. I picked up the Bible. I was going to my favorite verse, the one your father and I used to read together when things got real bad. And that's when I found it. The envelope. His handwriting. His words. I never opened it. Not once." Jordan's chest tightened. "You mean this is from him?" Marcia nodded. "It was his dying wish. He wanted you to have it on your 16th birthday. I held it all these years, waiting for this day. I didn't know if it would break you or save you, but I think you're ready now." Jordan swallowed hard, his throat thick. "Why now, Ma? Why wait all these years?" Tears slid down her cheeks. "Because you were just a boy, and I wanted you to grow strong on your own before hearing your father's voice again. But you're not a boy anymore, Jordan. You're 16. You're a man stepping into his future, and I know it's time." Jordan's hands trembled as he picked up the envelope. The paper felt heavier than anything he had ever held. He broke the seal slowly, unfolding the letter inside. "My son, if you are reading this, it means you've turned 16. I am not here to see it, and for that I am sorry. I was not strong enough to be the father you needed. The weight of my mistakes, the pain of what I lost, it crushed me. I chose the coward's way out. For that, I will carry shame even in death. But Jordan, don't let my weakness define you. You are more than my blood. You are more than my shadow. You have a gift, the game. I saw it when you were just 3 years old, dribbling anything you could get your hands on.
The light in your eyes when you touched a ball told me you loved it. I knew then that if you stayed with the game you loved, you would be special. Greater than me, greater than anything I ever was. There will be days when the pressure feels like too much, days when you want to quit. I felt them too, and I gave in. Don't make my mistake. When it hurts, keep pushing. When it's cold, get up and run. When they doubt you, prove them wrong. When life knocks you down, get back up. Always get back up. Love your mother. She sacrificed everything to raise you. Treat her as your queen. One day, when you make it, remember, she carried both of us on her back. Give her the life I could not. I am sorry, my son. Sorry I left you. Sorry I was too weak. But I believe in you. You are the second chance I never had. Be strong where I was weak. Be brave where I was afraid. Be the man I could not be. I love you, Dad. Jordan's hands shook as he lowered the letter. His chest heaved, his vision blurred with tears he hadn't wanted to show. For a long time, he couldn't speak. Marcia reached across the table, her own tears falling. He loved you, Jordan. In his own broken way, he loved you. Jordan pressed the letter against his chest, his voice cracking. Then I'll carry him with me. But I'll never be him. I'll be better. After breakfast, Jordan stepped outside, the letter still folded in his hand. He stood in the yard, staring at the basketball hoop nailed above the garage. The morning breeze carried the smell of lemon cake through the open window. He looked at the sky, then down at the letter, then back at the hoop. I hear you, Dad, he whispered, and I won't let you down. The ball bounced once against the concrete, steady and sure. His left hand guided it. Then, slowly, he switched to his right. Change was already beginning.
The next afternoon, the sun burned high above St. Croix, pressing heat down like a heavy hand. Lizards darted along the edge of the fence. An iguana lounged lazily on the backboard's support beam, and somewhere in the brush, a mongoose rustled through the grass. Overhead stretched the wide blue sky of the U.S. Virgin Islands, endless and bright. Jordan dropped his bag at the sideline of the neighborhood court, the same one he had played on since he was old enough to dribble. The court was cracked, the paint long faded, the backboards weathered thin from years of pounding. But to him, it was sacred ground. This was his place to put everything in perspective. Every argument with his mother, every demand from his coach, every doubt that crept into his mind. The world could feel heavy, but here, with the ball in his hands, he could find clarity. This was also the island where legends had been born. People still told the story of young Tim Duncan, before the NBA rings, before the Hall of Fame, when he was just a lanky swimmer who found basketball on these shores. His rise had put St. Croix on the map, proof that greatness could come from a small island. But there were others too, island legends who never escaped. Men whose games lived in whispers, who dropped 40 in local leagues but never boarded a plane for a scholarship. Some were buried under bad grades, others under bad habits. Raw talent wasted in the Caribbean sun. Jordan knew both legacies, and now he stood between them. He pulled out his ball, the letter folded carefully in his pocket, pressing against his thigh like a reminder. His father's words echoed, "When it hurts, keep pushing. When life knocks you down, get back up. Always get back up." Opportunities like this didn't come often. A call from Coach Daniels, the man who sent players to the NBA, the man who coached champions. This was the shot island kids prayed for. If Jordan fumbled it, there wouldn't be another. He bounced the ball with his left hand, smooth, crisp, polished. The left was his gift. Defenders knew it, coaches knew it, but even when they trapped him, triple-teamed him, he found a way to score. His game was raw, wild at times, untamed, but it was real. He had quick feet, explosive speed, a first step that left boys leaning the wrong way. But raw wouldn't be enough at the next level, so he switched to his right. The rhythm was off. The ball slid too high, hit his foot, skittered across the paint. He cursed, chased it down, reset. Again. Right-hand dribble, quick cross, hezzy, jumper, clanked hard. Again,
Right-hand drive. Layup clattered against the backboard, rattling out. He bent over, hands on his knees, sweat dripping onto the hot concrete. His chest heaved. The air smelled like salt, asphalt, and heat. This court had seen struggle before. During Hurricane Irma and Maria, the winds ripped backboards clean off, shattered rims, tore roofs from the gym down the street. For months, the courts were rubble. But the people of St. Croix rebuilt. Boys played barefoot on concrete, nailed wooden planks into makeshift hoops, and kept the game alive. Then the pandemic came, shutting everything down again. Masks, curfews, games canceled. The ball was silenced for a season. But here they were, back again, always back again. Jordan stared at the rim, feeling the weight of all of it. This island doesn't quit, so neither can I. His heart pounded, frustration threatening to spill over. Breathe, relax. Don't be scared of the changes. Don't you want to play for Coach Daniels? Don't you want to go to the NBA? Don't you want to take your mom out of poverty? The voice inside was clear. Jordan straightened, gripping the ball tighter, his chest rising and falling. This time he didn't whisper. He threw his head back toward the sky and shouted it, his voice echoing off the backboards and into the breeze. Yes, yes, I do. The words ripped out of him, more than just an answer, a confirmation. He could, he would. He reset. Right-hand dribble, quick cross, hezzy, jumper, clanked hard. Again, right-hand drive. This time, the layup floated off the glass and in. One more. Catch and shoot three. Net. The sound cracked through the quiet air like a promise. Sweat streamed down his face, soaking his shirt, but his confidence grew with every make. The awkwardness began to fade. The ball started moving like it belonged in his right hand. Jordan backed up to half court, bent his knees, let it fly. The ball arced high against the Virgin Islands sky, dropped, and snapped through the net. He laughed, breathless, the sound carrying across the empty court. He raised the ball high, whispering, "See, Dad? I got back up."
The court was silent but alive. Every crack, every faded line seemed to hum with history. This was more than practice. He was carrying his father's words, his mother's sacrifices, and the weight of an island that had known storms, pandemics, and struggle, and had survived them all. The ball bounced again, steady now, his right hand finding rhythm. Crisp, certain. Change wasn't coming, it was here. The following week, Jordan sat slouched in the plastic chair outside Miss Jameson's office, bouncing his knee restlessly. He had missed his first check-in. He'd gone to more classes this week, sure, and he had shown up to tutoring sessions, but nothing was clicking. The words in the books blurred together, and the frustration boiled inside him like a pot about to spill over. The door creaked open. "Jordan Parker," Miss Jameson's voice cut sharp through the air. "Come in." He stood, straightened his backpack, and stepped inside. Her office smelled faintly of coffee and paper, her desk stacked with folders and forms. She didn't motion for him to sit right away. Instead, she folded her arms, fixing him with a steady stare. "This is only your second visit here in 4 years," she began, "and the first time was because you skipped too many classes. You missed your first check-in with me last week. So explain to me why I shouldn't call Coach Rivera and tell him you're wasting everyone's time." Jordan shifted in the chair, gripping his knees. His jaw clenched. I didn't mean to skip," he muttered. "That's not an answer," Miss Jameson snapped. "You asked for a second chance. You begged for this opportunity. You think Coach Daniels is going to care about excuses? You think the NCAA cares about excuses?" Jordan's head dropped. Her words stung because they were true. Finally, he lifted his eyes, voice lower now. "It felt like prison, ma'am, having to check in every week, like you don't trust me to handle my own business. So I rebelled. I thought I could prove I didn't need this." Miss Jameson leaned forward, her expression softer but still stern. "And what do you think now?" Jordan swallowed. "Now I know I was wrong. I screwed this up. Not you, not the teachers, me. And it won't happen again." Her gaze held steady, searching his face. "Why? Why should I believe you this time?"
Jordan hesitated, then took a deep breath. His voice cracked just slightly as he admitted it. "Because I don't read well. That's why the tutoring feels like a wall. I sit there and nod like I understand, but the words don't stick. And instead of saying something, I just got angry, so I skipped. But I can't keep doing that. I need help, real help." For the first time, Miss Jameson's expression softened. She leaned back, tapping her pen against the desk. "Jordan, do you know how many boys sit in that chair and lie to me? Plenty. But you finally told me the truth. That's the first step." He nodded, shoulders loosening just a little. "So here's what we're going to do," she continued. "From now on, you will still check in once a week, but I'll adjust your plan. I'll find you a reading specialist, not just a tutor, someone trained to help you break this barrier. Because if you want to step onto that court in the States, your academics have to be just as strong as your game. Do you understand?" Jordan sat up straighter. "Yes, ma'am." Her tone sharpened again. "And you better not miss another check-in, ever, or you can kiss Coach Daniels goodbye." He felt the sting in her words, but this time he didn't argue. He nodded firmly. "I won't. Not again." As he left her office, Jordan felt lighter. Admitting his weakness out loud had been harder than any sprint, any push-up, any extra hour of practice. But now he finally understood. Discipline wasn't just about the court. It was about the classroom, too. And if he wanted to make it, he'd have to conquer both. That evening, the kitchen smelled of stewed chicken and rice. The same comfort food Marcia always made when she sensed her son was heavy with something. Jordan sat at the table, rolling the edge of a napkin between his fingers, quiet. Marcia glanced at him from the stove. "You had that look today, like something sitting on your chest. Talk to me." Jordan exhaled. "I went to see Miss Jameson." Her hands froze on the spoon. "And?" He hesitated, then said it plain. "I missed my first check-in last week. She tore into me for it. And she was right. I was acting out. But today, I told her the truth. That I don't read well. That's why the tutoring's been so hard." The words hung heavy in the air. Marcia turned slowly, her eyes softening. She walked over and sat across from him. "Jordan," her voice broke. "You don't know how much courage it took to say that, to admit it." He rubbed the back of his neck, embarrassed. I didn't want you to think I was dumb."
"Don't you ever say that again," she said firmly, reaching across the table to squeeze his hand. "You are not dumb. You are smart and capable and strong. You just learn different, and you'll get the help you need." Jordan's throat tightened. "I'm gonna fix it, Ma. I promised her. I promised myself. No more skipping. No more excuses." Marcia nodded, tears slipping down her cheeks. "You know why this hits me so hard? Because I never finished school. I quit when I had you. I thought I could figure it out, but I spent years stumbling because I never had that diploma. I carried that shame with me, and I don't want you to carry the same weight." Jordan's eyes stung, his voice barely above a whisper. "Then I'll carry us both. I'll finish this. For me, for you." She tightened her grip on his hand, her tears falling freely now. "No, Jordan, you don't have to carry me. If you can stand there and tell the truth about your struggle, about your learning disability, then I can tell the truth about mine. I will go back and get my GED. We will conquer this together." Her voice grew steadier as she continued, her eyes locked on his. "Because when my son goes to the NBA, and you will go, I have to be there with you. I can't sit in those rooms, around those people, and feel small. I can't be the illiterate woman in the corner, depending on others to explain what's being said. If you're going to stand tall in your dream, then I have to stand tall in mine. At the very least, I need that 12th grade diploma." Jordan blinked hard, his chest swelling with pride. For the first time, he didn't just feel like Marcia's son. He felt like her partner in the fight. Mother and son, side by side.
Two promises made at the same table. Two lives on the brink of change. The gym was alive. Sneakers squeaked, whistles blew, and the crowd buzzed like a hive. St. Croix didn't get nights like this often, not with scouts sitting in the bleachers, clipboards ready, pens scratching. They weren't here for the team. They weren't here for the league. They were here because of a viral video. 2 months ago, a shaky cell phone clip of Jordan had blown up online. Him splitting a triple team, spinning left, and hammering down a dunk that looked impossible for his size. The clip had made its way stateside. A teammate's cousin showed it to a coach. That coach showed it to another. And suddenly, here they were, men with polo shirts, lanyards, and eyes sharp as razors. As Jordan jogged onto the court, Coach Rivera grabbed his arm, pulling him close. "Listen to me," he said, his voice low and firm. "They're not here for your highlights. They're here to see if that video wasn't just a fluke. They want to know if you can play both ends of the court. Defense, discipline, heart. Prove it." Jordan nodded, but his stomach churned. The whistle blew. Tip off. It didn't take long for the game to spiral. By the end of the first quarter, nothing was going right. His jumper clanged, his layups rolled off. Every pass he threw seemed to slip through his teammates' fingers. The scoreboard told the story. They were down by 20. In the stands, the scouts scribbled notes, but their faces had already soured. Jordan caught a glimpse of one leaning back in his chair, shaking his head. Another folded his arms, whispering to the man beside him. To them, the story was written. The viral kid couldn't back it up. His chest tightened, his legs heavy. Sweat stung his eyes. Maybe he wasn't ready. And then, through the noise, he saw her, Marcia. She stood from her seat, walked down to the rail, and leaned in. Her voice cut through the chaos, just for him. "Relax. This is your game. Play like you were born ready for this. Play like your dad." Something inside Jordan shifted. The words hit deeper than the roar of the crowd, deeper than the doubt of the scouts. Born ready. Play like his dad. The second quarter opened with the ball in his hands. Two defenders lunged, shouting, "Trap him! He can't go right!" But this time, he didn't panic. He didn't freeze. Jordan shifted, dribbling hard to his right. The ball bounced clean, strong. One more dribble, then he split the trap, exploding into the lane. The gym erupted. Next possession, he ripped the ball away at half court, sprinted down, pulled up, and let it fly from deep. A three-pointer off his right hand. Net. The momentum shifted like a domino effect. On the next fast break, Jordan pushed up the court, defenders collapsing on him. Instead of forcing it, he fired a no-look pass to his teammates streaking ahead. Layup. The lead was cut to 10. But the other team didn't break. They came right back, their guard drilling a contested three from the wing. The foul. And one. The gym shook with mixed cheers and groans.
As players walked toward the free throw line, Jordan grabbed his teammates into a tight huddle. His voice cut through the noise. "We can cut it to 5 before the half," he said firmly, "but we gotta play harder. This is our game, our house, home court advantage. Let's go." His teammates looked at him, really looked at him, and something changed. Shoulders squared, eyes lit, faces hardened. They were ready for war. By halftime, the 20-point hole had shrunk to just 6. The crowd was back alive, chanting Jordan's name. The scouts leaned forward now, their pens scribbling fast. The second half was a slugfest. Every time Jordan's team clawed closer, the other squad answered. A deep three, a tough mid-range jumper, a putback dunk that silenced the crowd for a beat. But Jordan wouldn't fold. He drove right, finishing through contact. He stepped into passing lanes, swiping steals. He fed teammates for open looks. And when the defense sagged off, he rose up from beyond the arc. Swish. The scoreboard ticked closer. 3-point deficit, then 1. With 2 minutes left, it was tied. The gym thundered like a storm. The other team's star guard hit a step-back jumper over outstretched hands. Crowd groaned, down 2. Jordan answered with a slashing drive, fouled at the rim. He walked to the line, bouncing the ball, the gym silent. His father's words echoed in his head. Always get back up. 2 free throws, both clean. Tied again. Final possession, 20 seconds left, score knotted at 78. The other team ran a high screen, freeing their shooter. He rose, fired from deep. Swish. The crowd gasped. Down 3. 10 seconds. Inbound to Jordan. He sprinted the length of the court, crossed left, then right, pulling defenders with him. With 5 seconds left, he kicked it to his teammate wide open in the corner. Shot. Swish. Tie game again. The gym exploded. Overtime? No. The ref waved it off. Jordan had been fouled on the drive before the pass. 2 shots. The crowd hushed, the scouts frozen. Jordan stepped to the line. His hands shook, but his eyes were steady. He bent his knees, released. Swish. Up 1. Second free throw. Bounce, release, swish. Up 2. The other team had one last desperate heave at the buzzer. Off the rim. Game over. Final score, 82-80. The gym exploded. Teammates mobbed Jordan, the crowd storming the court. Scouts scribbled furiously, but this time their faces weren't blank. They were lit with interest. Marcia stood in the stands, tears streaming down her face. She had never cheered so loud, never believed so much. Her son wasn't just a viral clip anymore. He was a player. And in that moment, Jordan knew he had changed the story. The gym was still buzzing hours after the game ended. The scoreboard was long dark, the scouts had packed their clipboards, and the bleachers were nearly empty. But Jordan could still feel the echo of the crowd in his chest. 2 free throws, a 2-point win, his name shouted from every corner of St. Croix. He found Marcia waiting outside the locker room. Her eyes were red from crying, but her smile was steady. She pulled him close, holding on longer than she usually did. "You conquered one war tonight," she whispered in his ear. "Now it's time to prepare for the next one, the war with your classes. Don't you dare let this win go to your head." Jordan laughed softly, but he nodded. She was right. This wasn't the finish line. It was just the beginning. The weeks that followed felt different. For the first time, Jordan carried himself with a new rhythm. He showed up early to school, stayed late for tutoring. And when Mrs. Jameson introduced him to the reading specialist, he didn't roll his eyes or shrug it off. He leaned in. It wasn't easy. The first sessions frustrated him. Words still slipped, lines still blurred. But slowly, piece by piece, his confidence grew. The breakthrough came one Tuesday morning. In English class, the teacher asked for volunteers to read a passage aloud. Normally, Jordan would have sunk into his chair, praying to be skipped. But this time, he raised his hand. The words rolled smoother than he expected. No long pauses, no stumbling. He hit the last line and looked up. The room was quiet, classmates staring in surprise. Then the teacher smiled. "Well done, Jordan." He sat back, a small grin tugging at his lips. For the first time in years, he wasn't just passing time in class. He was part of it. 2 weeks later, his report card came in. He stared at it in disbelief, then burst into a grin so wide it hurt his cheeks. An A in math, a B in English, a B in history, a C in science. They weren't easy wins. The English grade had come from long hours with the reading specialist, stumbling through paragraphs until the stumbles smoothed out. The math grade had always been within his reach, but now he finally applied himself, proving what he knew deep down, he was good at it. He carried the report card home like it was a trophy, holding it out to Marcia at the kitchen table. Her hands shook as she looked at it. "Jordan," she whispered, her eyes filling, "I knew you had this in you." Jordan stood taller, his chest swelling. For the first time in years, he felt the truth. He wasn't just surviving school, he was succeeding. At the same time, Marcia was fighting her own battle. Late nights, after Jordan had gone to bed, she sat at the dining table with her notebooks and study guides. She had enrolled in GED prep, determined to make good on her promise. "It's different now," she explained to Jordan one evening as he leaned against the counter, watching her scribble math problems. "They don't make you take the whole thing all at once.
It's broken up into sections. You just focus on one subject at a time. Jordan tilted his head. So, what you gotta take? Just the math and English, she said, her voice firm with resolve. That's all I need. If I stay consistent, in 4 months I could have my diploma. Jordan grinned, pride in his voice. Then we both winning this year. Marcia smiled back, her pen tapping against the page. That's right. You handle the court, I'll handle this book. We'll conquer both. Jordan began picking up more around the house, making sure his mom had time to study. Dishes, laundry, even tidying up before she came home from class at night, little things that lightened her load. One night, he walked into the dining room to find her slumped over the table, pencil still in hand, math problems scattered across the page. "Ma," Jordan whispered, gently nudging her shoulder, "come on, go to bed." But as he glanced at the paper, something caught his eye. He picked it up and frowned. "Wait, I know this." Marcia stirred, lifting her head slowly. "What do you mean?" "I can help you with this if you want me to," he said, sliding into the chair beside her. "I'm good at math, always been." He tapped the report card still pinned to the fridge. "Got an A to prove it." Marcia sighed. "Well, I'm not. Please, show me, because I just don't get it." Jordan grabbed the pencil and began working through the steps, explaining each move as he went. Marcia followed carefully, her brow furrowed at first, then easing as the numbers finally made sense. When she finished the last problem on her own, she looked up at him with pride shining in her eyes. The son was now the teacher. "Thank you," she whispered, a tear sliding down her face. "You don't know what this means to me." Jordan smiled, handing her back the pencil. "We're in this together, Ma." One afternoon, Miss Jameson pulled Jordan aside after their weekly check-in. She looked over his grades, then at him directly. "You've made progress, Jordan," she said. "An A in math, a B in English. That's good. But if you want to survive at the next level, grades aren't enough." Jordan frowned, his eyebrows tightening. "What do you mean?" She set the folder down and leaned forward across her desk. Her voice lowered, slower now, deliberate. "Right now, your game is going to get you a lot of limelight. You are becoming the LeBron of the Virgin Islands. People are talking about you in grocery stores, in barbershops, in church pews. That viral video of you crossing that kid at the tournament, it's not just bouncing around the island anymore. Scouts on the mainland have seen it. Coaches are whispering your name in hallways, and you're only 16. Jordan shifted in his seat, his chest rising and falling faster. "You saw it yourself last month," she pressed. "Scouts flew down from the mainland just to see you in that championship game. The gym was filled over capacity. People standing in the aisles, packed shoulder to shoulder just to watch you play. All eyes on you. And you felt it, the pressure, the weight of expectation. That's only going to grow." She paused, then leaned in closer, her voice carrying even more weight. "And Jordan, Coach Daniel doesn't just know who you are. He wants you. Do you understand what that means? This is a man who has won 3 consecutive NCAA championships. A coach known for taking boys and turning them into NBA stars. The head coach of the USA national team. He doesn't just recruit players, he builds legends. And now, he wants you on his roster. You're about to sign in a few months to a top school. NIL deals are on the way. Fame is about to crash down on you whether you're ready or not." Jordan's mouth went dry. He thought of the championship banners he'd seen online, the photos of NBA players hugging Coach Daniel, the Olympic gold medals.
Miss Jameson's gaze sharpened. "This is big, Jordan. Bigger than anything you've ever known. But fame coming this fast? It draws the wrong kind of attention, too. People will smile in your face while plotting behind your back. They'll want a piece of you, your time, your money, your body, your mind. And if you're not ready, it can break you before you even start." Jordan looked down, his hands fidgeting. "That's why I'm introducing you to EJ." He looked up. "EJ?" She nodded. "Everyone calls him EJ the trainer. He used to be where you are. Talent, spotlight, doors opening left and right. He even played alongside Tim Duncan once. But he made the wrong choices, trusted the wrong people, and lost it all. Prison, betrayal, dreams gone. And yet, he didn't let that be the end of his story. He came back, he rebuilt. Now he trains kids like you, because he knows how fast it can all disappear. Jordan's jaw tightened. So, what exactly is he gonna do for me? EJ builds more than bodies, Miss Jameson said firmly. He builds minds. He develops mental toughness. He knows how to look at a young man and see not just the athlete, but the cracks in his armor. Based on what you need, he'll tell you what it is. He will test your body. He will test your mind. And if you can get through his training, then I will know you are ready for anything, on or off the court. The room grew quiet. Jordan stared at the floor, then back up at Miss Jameson. Something in her tone, the way she didn't blink, told him this wasn't just another counselor lecture. This was a warning. This was a door. He nodded slowly, his voice lower than usual. Okay, I'll meet him. EJ walked onto the cracked pavement like he owned it. At 5'9", he wasn't towering, but his presence filled the court. His frame was solid, not bulky, but cut, the kind of build that came from years of discipline and sweat. His dark skin glistened in the Caribbean sun, bald head shining like polished stone. He wore a clean black t-shirt with his logo stamped bold across the chest, tucked into slim-fit athletic shorts. On his wrist, a watch caught the light with every step, not flashy, but sharp. His sneakers were crisp, the laces tight, soles spotless. Even his socks were pulled high, perfectly even. Nothing about him looked sloppy, nothing looked out of place. Jordan noticed right away. EJ wasn't just showing up to train, he was showing Jordan what discipline looked like. From his walk, to his clothes, to the way he carried himself, EJ was a walking example of control. EJ's eyes locked on Jordan and didn't blink. He stopped in front of him, voice low and sharp. I know who you are, Parker. I saw your viral video, the one where you broke that kid's ankles at the tournament. You got something. I was at the championship game too, sat in the back and watched. You got heart, no doubt. But heart alone won't carry you to the next level. Miss Jameson called me, told me it's time I step in and help groom you. And I told her straight up, I don't waste my time. Before I put in the hours, before I run you through the fire, I needed to see where your head was at. Because this ain't about skill. I've seen skill come and go. This is about mindset, discipline, control. So here's what you need to understand before we start. Out here, I got rules. I don't tolerate laziness. I don't tolerate excuses. You quit on me, you're done. You show up late, you're done. You disrespect the grind, you're done. You give me everything, I'll give you everything. But if you play games with me, I'll walk away, and you'll never be ready for what's coming. Basketball ain't just about making shots and dribbling a ball. Kids all over the world can do that. The game is survival. The game is discipline. You want the NBA? Then it starts with your mind. Because talent will get you noticed, but only toughness will keep you there. So tell me, Parker, do you want to be another island highlight? Or are you ready to be broken down so I can build you into something that lasts? Jordan swallowed hard, his chest rising with a mix of nerves and anticipation.
EJ tossed him a weighted vest. Put it on. Jordan strapped it tight across his chest, surprised at the heaviness. Baseline to baseline. Suicides. Go. Jordan sprinted, legs pumping, lungs burning. By the third rep, his thighs screamed. By the fifth, sweat blurred his vision. Again, Jordan gasped. I thought that was... You thought wrong. Again, EJ barked. The drills piled on. Ladder footwork, resistance band ball handling, push-ups with EJ's foot on his back, sprints until his calves cramped. Every time Jordan slowed, EJ was in his ear. Focus, eyes up, control the ball, don't let it control you. Everybody looks good tired, but can you still think tired? By the 10th sprint, Jordan bent over, hands on his knees, chest heaving. "You done already?" EJ snapped. "That's what you came here for? One tough game and you fold?" Jordan clenched his fists. "No, then prove it. Run it again." Somewhere deep inside, Jordan found another gear. He ran, he pushed, his body screamed, but he didn't quit. When he finally staggered to a stop, chest heaving, EJ tossed him a towel. "The testament? Not bad," EJ said, crouching so they were eye level. "You got fight, but fight alone won't keep you in the game." Jordan frowned. "What do you mean?" EJ exhaled, his tone shifting darker. "My downfall wasn't work ethic. It wasn't heart. It was my choices. At 5'9", the league was always a long shot, so I chased the next big thing that would make me millions. Sold drugs. Thought my circle was tight. But people kept calling my name in their phone conversations. Next thing you know, the feds started looking at me. And when it came time for trial, my homie, the one who rode with me, ate with me, laughed with me, ratted me out. Sat on that stand with his head down like he didn't even know me." Jordan's stomach dropped. EJ's voice dropped into a rhythm, raw and jagged. "When trial come, it ain't your phone. It be your homie, though. He on the stand with his head down like he don't know me, though. Ain't no point in getting a lawyer if your homie told. He was with you on them late nights, them fast cars, them ski masks. Now I'm having federal nightmares." Jordan froze. He knew the track. Lil Durk, Federal Nightmares. But hearing EJ spit it, sweat still dripping down his face, was different. This wasn't rap. It was confession. EJ shook his head slowly. "But let me be clear. I don't blame him. I don't blame the feds. I blame me. You can't be a drug dealer forever. You gotta have an endgame. Just like anything else in life, even basketball. You can't play forever. So what's your exit strategy? What's your next play when your body says you're done? I didn't have one, and that's why I lost everything." He pulled a crisp bill from his pocket, holding it up. "You see this? This ain't money. This is bait. And the world is full of people waiting to snatch it out your hand. Coaches, scouts, friends, family. Every time you leave your house, someone wants your money. Don't ever forget that." Jordan stared at the bill, throat tight. EJ stood, pulling a small notepad from his bag. He scribbled quickly, then tore off the page and handed it to Jordan. "This is your schedule. We meet 4 times a week. Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, conditioning and skills. Saturdays, film and recovery. No excuses, no reschedules. You stick to this, you'll get stronger, sharper, tougher. You skip, you're done." Jordan looked down at the page. Times, drills, even notes about diet and rest. EJ had thought of everything. "You got 1 year, Parker," EJ said, his tone final. 1 year to prepare before you leave this island. 1 year to build yourself into someone Coach Daniel can't ignore. Someone who can survive when the spotlight gets hot. A year from now, you'll either be ready for the world, or the world will eat you alive." Jordan clenched the paper in his hand, nodding slowly. EJ's eyes narrowed. "Now, go home. Rest. Tomorrow, the real work begins." That night, Jordan walked home drained, his shirt soaked through, arms trembling from exhaustion. He pushed open the front door and froze. At the dining table, Marcia sat hunched over for GED prep book, pencil still in hand, lips moving as she worked through a math problem. Her head bobbed with fatigue, fighting sleep. Jordan leaned on the doorway, watching her. EJ's words echoed. "What's your exit strategy?" Here she was, writing hers out page by page. For the first time, Jordan understood. This wasn't just his fight, it was theirs.
The first week of EJ's schedule was brutal. 4 sessions in 7 days. Every muscle in Jordan's body ached. His hands were raw from dribbling with resistance bands. His calves screamed from the weighted sprints. His chest still heavy from endless push-ups. But when he looked in the mirror, he saw something different. His shoulders were squarer, his eyes sharper. Still, the hardest part wasn't the training, it was the hours in between. "Yo, JP," a voice called from across the courtyard one morning. It was his boys, leaning against the gate, grinning wide.
Skip class today, man. Let's roll. Got some girls coming through later. We can hit the beach, smoke a little, chill out. One day won't kill you. Jordan froze. The laughter, the promise of the beach, the smell of smoke drifting from the corner, it all tugged at him. Part of him wanted to drop the bag, fall back into the rhythm of his old life. One day off wouldn't hurt, right? Then EJ's voice cut through. You quit on me, you're done. Everybody looks good tired, but can you still think tired? And underneath it, his father's. Son, I wasn't strong enough to make the right choices. Don't follow my path. Jordan straightened, gripping the strap of his backpack tighter. His friends laughed. What's the big deal, man? You actin' brand new. Coach Daniel already wants you. You set. He shook his head slowly. Nah, I got work to do. They booed, waved him off, muttered about him being soft now. But Jordan kept walking, his chest heavy, but his steps steady. The voices of EJ and his father guided him forward. Meanwhile, across town, Marcia sat stiff in a hard plastic chair, pencil in hand, eyes locked on the GED math test in front of her. She had studied, prayed, memorized formulas until her head ached. But as soon as the proctor said, "You may begin," her palms went slick with sweat. Equations blurred, fractions danced, her heart pounded louder than her thoughts. When the results came back later that afternoon, she stared at the slip of paper, throat tight. Failed by 2 points. 2. She walked home in silence, shoulders slumped, the paper crumpled in her fist. Jordan was at the table, his book spread out, when she dropped it down. I failed, she whispered, by 2 points. Maybe this ain't for me. Jordan looked at her like she'd spoken another language. What do you mean? You can't quit, Ma. Not now. Her eyes watered. I gave it everything. Maybe I just don't have it anymore. Jordan stood, pushing the paper back to her. No, you only failed because you were nervous. That's it. You can retake it next week, and this time you'll pass. I'll help you study. I'll show you how I prep, how I lock in. You're not quitting. Not on me. She tried to look away, but he caught her eyes. Want to know a secret, Ma? They say most athletes get their talent from their mothers, and their intelligence too. So I'm good in math and basketball because of you. Her lips parted, a small smile breaking through the tears. A tear slipped down her cheek, but this time it wasn't defeat. It was pride. Jordan leaned closer. Mom, I promise, you got this. We'll win together. That night, the kitchen table became their battleground. Jordan slid his notebook beside hers, sharpening 2 pencils, handing her one. All right, he said, flipping open her prep book. Let's start with the basics. Fractions first. Marcia groaned. I hate fractions. Jordan grinned. Good, that means we're gonna kill 'em tonight. When she struggled, he grabbed a scrap sheet and sketched a basketball court. Look, Ma, fractions are like plays. You split the court. Half, quarter, third. Same idea. If I shoot 10 free throws and make 6, that's 6 out of 10. Reduce it, that's 3/5. That's 60%. She leaned closer, eyes narrowing. So, fractions are just percentages on the scoreboard? Exactly, Jordan laughed. And check this out. If a game is 40 minutes and I play 20, that's half the game. If I score 15 out of our team's 60 points, that's 1/4. Fractions are everywhere in basketball. Marcia blinked, then laughed softly. You make it sound so easy. Jordan winked. It is easy. You just needed the right coach. Slowly, the numbers began to click. She leaned forward, solving a problem without his help. When she got it right, she looked up at him in disbelief. I did it? Jordan leaned back, smirking. Of course you did. Told you, Ma. You got this. She laughed again, wiping her cheek. Then, with a quiet determination, she smoothed the crumpled test slip flat against the table. No longer a mark of failure, but a reminder to fight again. She looked at Jordan and nodded. Next week, I pass. Jordan spun his ball on his finger, grinning. And tomorrow, I run with EJ. We both got work to do. The kitchen, once heavy with doubt, now felt alive with preparation.
The Caribbean sun poured through the high windows of the gym on St. Croix, thickening the air with heat.
Jordan's body had changed. His shoulders broader, his arms carved with new definition, his legs stronger from endless 5 a.m. runs. Even his mother noticed the way his shirt stretched tighter across his chest, the way he carried himself differently. But strength didn't protect him from envy. Whispers floated through the locker room in the school halls. He think he big time now. Man getting scouts, free shoes and attention, but he's still here with us. During practice, Rico shoved him hard on a drive. You ain't all that, Parker. Let's see you get out of this trap. 2 more teammates closed in, slamming shoulders into him. Go right, bet you can't. Jordan spun out, forced his way through, and hit a layup off the glass. The ball snapped through the net, but Rico shoved him again, sneering. The coach's whistle shrieked. Enough, Parker, you better get used to this. Attention draws enemies. If you can't handle your brothers pushing you, you'll never handle the world coming for your spot. The lesson stung. The world was watching now. Across town, Marcia sat in the cold testing room, pencil in hand. She remembered Jordan at the kitchen table, showing her fractions as plays, percentages as free throws. When the proctor handed her the slip, she held her breath. Passed. By 4 points. She stared, stunned, then leapt to her feet, fist pumping the air. Yes! 1 down, 1 to go! She shouted it again, jumping in place, not caring that everyone turned to stare. Her victory was her own. That night, when Jordan came home sore from practice, she was waiting at the kitchen table. She slid the slip toward him, eyes shining. "I passed," she whispered. Jordan read it twice, grinned wide, and hugged her. "See, Ma? Told ya, we don't quit." Her tears spilled as she laughed. "I didn't believe, but you did. You believed for both of us." Jordan leaned back, pride in his voice. "You gave me my fight, Ma. Now I'm giving it back." But celebration couldn't slow the storm. Within days, the offers multiplied. Duke, Kentucky, UConn, 3 powerhouse schools with scholarships on the table. And still, Coach Daniel, the man with 3 straight NCAA championships, the man who built pros from nothing, pressed for an answer. Nike dropped shoes at his door. Adidas whispered about his own shoe line. Lexus promised a deal. The Department of Tourism wanted him to be the face of the Virgin Islands. Agents lined the bleachers after every game, pressing business cards into his palm. Then came the IMG offer. Transfer to Florida, face national competition, play on TV. It meant leaving St. Croix early, leaving his mother, but the chance was too big to ignore. Signing day was in 2 weeks. The noise was deafening. Marcia lay awake, staring at the ceiling. She had passed her test, but her son was drowning in choices bigger than he was. Shoes, cars, schools, agents, circling like sharks. She went to EJ. She found him at the outdoor court, leaning against the fence, moonlight glinting off his bald head. "EJ," she said, her voice trembling, "I need your help. Jordan's being pulled from every side. Schools, agents, companies, IMG. He's only 16. He's not ready for this. I can't let them eat him alive." EJ listened quietly, then pushed off the fence, his tone steady but firm. "All right. First thing, we set a meeting. You, me, Jordan. We lay everything on the table. Scholarships, agents, brand deals, teammates. Then we go piece by piece, and I show him how to make decisions. That's how you build a man, not just a baller." He paused, eyes narrowing. "And IMG? I agree with the move. He needs harder competition now. Iron sharpens iron. But not unless it's on your terms. Part of the deal has to be bringing you with him. You can't trust anyone else to raise your son. Jordan needs his mother, not strangers." Marcia's lips parted, surprised, but he wasn't done. "Jordan told me you're taking your GED. Good, but don't stop there. Take the next test quick. Once you pass, enroll in classes, get a certificate in something. More money, more knowledge. You need to be ready too. These contracts, these deals, they'll eat you alive if you don't understand them. I'll train his body and mind, but you've got to learn the business side.
That way, when the time comes, the Parkers can't be played. Marcia swallowed hard, some of the fear in her chest replaced by resolve. News of IMG spread fast. At the next practice, Coach Rivera pulled Jordan aside, his smile tight, his words cutting. "So they want you stateside now, huh? IMG, Nike, all the big names. Just remember, talent alone doesn't make you a man. Plenty of island kids went away thinking they were stars, came back nobodies. Too soft for the grind, too weak for the cold, too stubborn to listen. Don't be the next headline."
The words cut sharp, wrapped in advice that felt more like doubt. Low-key hate disguised as guidance. Rivera slapped him on the back and walked away, leaving Jordan stewing. That night, Jordan lay in bed staring at the ceiling. Rivera's words replaying, his mother's pride fresh in his mind, and EJ's voice echoing louder than both. "We'll go through this together. We'll strip it down, study it, and make the right play. By the time signing day comes, you'll be untouchable." Jordan closed his eyes, his muscles aching, but his resolve sharper than ever. The noise outside was deafening, but inside, a fire was forming. The next battle was already on the horizon. The gym on St. Croix was suffocating with noise. Scouts packed the bleachers, reporters scribbled, cameras flashed. The buzz was deafening. Jordan Parker's signing day was 1 week away. Coach Rivera's whistle split the air. "Parker, tonight you prove if you're real or just hype." From the opening tip, it was chaos. The opposing team doubled him every possession. His own teammates, bitter and jealous, froze him out. When he fought for the ball, they shoved harder than the defense. By the end of the first quarter, they were drowning, down 20. At halftime, Rivera let loose. "You think Duke or Kentucky want this? UConn, Villanova, Syracuse? They'll drop you the second they see weakness. You've got 1/2 to prove you're more than a highlight reel." Jordan sat in silence, Scout's pens scratching like knives. His teammates glared, waiting for him to fold. But in the second half, he fought back. A rebound ripped from his own teammate, a steal at half court, a right-hand drive into contact, and one. He stopped waiting for help, he created it. Slowly the lead shrank, and by the final buzzer, Jordan had dragged them to a 2-point win. The crowd roared. Rivera muttered under his breath, "Let's see if he survives when the lights are brighter." The next morning, Jordan slouched into Miss Jameson's office, soreness etched into his shoulders. She tapped her pen against a folder. "Grades are better, attendance is up. But Jordan, you're walking a tightrope. Scouts don't ask for transcripts until the last minute. One slip, and it's over. Signing day is in a week. Don't get sloppy now." Jordan rubbed his forehead. "I'm trying." "Stop trying," she said sharply. "Start finishing. Talent gets you noticed. Discipline keeps you kept." That night, EJ spread stacks of papers and contracts across the table. Logos of Duke, Kentucky, UConn, Villanova, and Syracuse stared back. A whiteboard leaned against the wall, 5 columns drawn in thick black lines. "All right," EJ said, his voice cutting through the tension. "This ain't about highlight reels anymore. This is business. NIL money, security, future. Jordan, what does each school put on the table?" Jordan shifted uncomfortably. Duke's offering a shoe contract. Kentucky's talking about Lexus. UConn's got a sportswear deal. Villanova, Coach Daniel, championships, NBA prep. Syracuse, media deals with their fan base." EJ leaned forward, eyes sharp. "And do you even know the difference between those offers?" Jordan frowned. "They're just deals, right?" EJ grabbed the marker and drew 2 circles on the board. "Wrong. There's 2 kinds of NIL deals. One, school tied. That Lexus deal in Kentucky, that's from a booster. If you don't go to Kentucky, that deal is dead before it even starts. Same with most of UConn's offers. Same with Syracuse. Those are conditional. 2, independent. That's when Nike, Adidas, Gatorade, or whoever signs you directly. Doesn't matter what school you choose, that contract follows you anywhere.
Those are the ones you want long-term. But guess what? They don't come easy. You gotta prove yourself. Marcia sat back, her eyes narrowing. So all these papers, half of them vanish if he doesn't pick their school? Exactly, EJ said, tapping the board hard. That's why you don't get greedy. You don't chase every dollar waved in your face. You focus on the ones that fit you dream. Booster money will tempt you. Cars, quick checks, flash. But the second you don't play their game, it's gone. Corporate money? That's legacy. That's real. Jordan stared at the whiteboard, chest tight. For the first time, he realized how fragile everything was. So, what's the right choice? He asked quietly. EJ looked between him and Marcia. The right choice is the one that builds both of you. If a school's NIL deal includes your mother, make sure she's by your side, gives her education and stability. That's a program investing in your future, not just your game. Marcia's hand gripped Jordan's. Then that's the only deal I'll let you sign. EJ leaned back, nodding. 1 week, Parker. Make the right play, not the easy one. The clock in Jordan's chest ticked louder than ever.
The gym on St. Croix had never seen anything like it. Banners draped the walls, cameras flashed from every corner, and the bleachers shook with the roar of the island. Jordan Parker, their son, their brother, their hope, was about to choose his future. At the front table sat 5 hats: Duke, Kentucky, UConn, Syracuse, Villanova. Each one gleamed under the lights, waiting to crown the next chapter of his life. Marcia's hand gripped Jordan's so tightly, her nails dug into his skin. "Breathe," she whispered, "just breathe." The announcer's voice boomed across the packed gym. "Ladies and gentlemen, today we witness history. St. Croix's own Jordan Parker will make his college decision." The crowd erupted, chanting his name. "Jordan! Jordan! Jordan!" Jordan's chest heaved. His palms sweated as he stared at the hats in front of him. He picked up Duke. The crowd gasped, then sighed as he set it down. He lifted Kentucky. The gym held its breath. But again, he laid it back down. UConn, Syracuse, same thing. Finally, his hand rested on Villanova. The V gleamed under the lights. Slowly, Jordan placed the cap on his head. The gym exploded in cheers. Reporters surged forward. Why Villanova? Jordan leaned into the mic, his voice steady, eyes locked on the cameras. Because this isn't just about basketball. Duke, Kentucky, UConn, Syracuse, they all made promises. Cars, shoes, spotlight. But Villanova promised something no one else did: discipline, development, and a future. 3 national championships speak louder than any NIL quick cash. They're investing in me, and they're investing in my mom. That's the legacy I want to build. And before I get there, I'll be leaving St. Croix this fall for IMG Academy in Florida. IMG is where the best of the best train. If I want to be NBA ready, I need to sharpen against harder competition every single day. I love my island, but I can't stay sheltered here. I need the world to see what St. Croix produces, and I'm going to carry this island with me every step of the way. The crowd roared again, louder than before. Marcia pressed her hands to her mouth, tears streaming. EJ nodded from the back of the gym, eyes proud. Coach Rivera, leaning against the wall, smirked and muttered just loud enough for those near him to hear. He thinks he's a pro already. Let's see how he feels when every player at IMG is faster, stronger, and hungrier than him. Confidence won't save him there. 2 nights later, after a grueling evening workout with EJ, Jordan jogged home beneath the heavy Caribbean night. Sweat soaked his shirt, his legs burning, his head buzzing with dreams of Villanova and IMG. He didn't see the figures until it was too late. Rico stepped from the shadows, a cruel grin on his face. "Big time, huh? Think you're better than us?" Before Jordan could answer, fists smashed into his jaw. He hit the ground hard, boots and fists raining down. Blood gushed from his nose, split across his lip, ribs aching with every kick.
"You ain't going nowhere," Rico snarled. Jordan gasped for air, the metallic taste of blood choking him, his vision swimming. Then shouts cut through the night. "Yo, that's Parker!" Men from the neighborhood, older players, fathers, neighbors, charged in. Rico and his crew were ripped away and beaten back. They scattered into the shadows, leaving Jordan bloodied on the pavement. Strong arms lifted him. "We got you, son. Word's going out. Nobody touches you again." Marcia's scream pierced the hospital halls when she saw him, face swollen, shirt stained in crimson, eyes dazed. Doctors stitched, wrapped, and stabilized. But while the medical team worked, the waiting room outside swelled with reporters. Microphones, cameras, flashes. Headlines already spinning out of control. Villanova's newest recruit attacked on St. Croix. Jordan Parker, victim of jealousy-fueled ambush. Is IMG Academy safe for the Virgin Islands phenom? The questions rattled the walls as much as the crowd. "Jordan, who did this to you? Are you reconsidering Villanova? Do you feel safe on the island?" Everywhere Marcia turned, there were lenses and notepads trying to capture their pain. She shoved past them, her voice sharp. "Get out of his face! My son needs healing, not headlines." But the damage was done. By the next morning, Jordan's beating wasn't just local gossip, it was national news. EJ arrived, fury written across his face. He pulled Marcia aside first. "This ain't nothing but jealousy and hate, plain and simple. But hear me, he's got 2 months left of school. That's it. I'll take him. I'll drop him home. No more walking." And with the word out, no one's gonna touch him again. Later, when the room cleared, Jordan told EJ about Rivera's words. His voice was raw. "Coach Rivera, he said I won't survive IMG, that every player there's faster, stronger, hungrier, that confidence won't save me." EJ's eyes narrowed. Then he let out a short, sharp laugh. "Rivera? That's jealousy talking. He sees the spotlight moving off him and onto you. Don't let his bitterness crawl into your head." He leaned in, his tone dropping like a hammer. "Now listen to me, Jordan. Fame don't just bring fans, it brings predators. Agents, boosters, fake friends. They'll smile in your face while planning to use you. Don't ever make haste decisions, especially without your mother. You're only 16. When they come, and they will, send them to her. Anytime you need to talk, call me. I'm here for you." EJ jabbed a finger at Jordan's chest. "You're ready, Jordan. The only difference between those players at IMG and you is location. They were born in the States. You were born here. That's it. Talent? You got it. Heart? You got it. Now it's about choices. Smart ones." Jordan swallowed hard, the weight of EJ's words sinking deeper than Rivera's jab ever had. A week later, bruises still marked his face, but his spirit burned hotter. School basketball was over. Villanova and IMG were waiting. The whispers in the halls had shifted from jealousy to awe. That night, before bed, Jordan opened his drawer and pulled out the folded envelope. His father's handwriting stared back. "Give to Jordan on his 16th birthday." His fingers trembled as he pressed the paper to his chest. "Pop," he whispered, tears streaking his face. "I know you couldn't stay, but I'm carrying this for both of us. Watch over me. Guide me. I won't quit. Not on Ma, not on myself." He bowed his head, saying a short prayer, for strength, for clarity, for protection. When he rose, his reflection in the mirror was battered but unbroken. Fire burned in his eyes. The storms weren't over, but Jordan Parker was ready to leave St. Croix, ready for IMG, ready for the next chapter.
The airport on St. Croix buzzed with emotion. Family, neighbors, coaches, and classmates crowded the terminal, some holding homemade signs, others just holding back tears. Marcia stood at Jordan's side, her purse heavy with proof of her own climb, her GED secured in a folder, along with the certificate she had just earned in sports management and contracts. She wasn't just Jordan's mother anymore, she was preparing to be his protector in a world full of sharks. Reporters pressed against the glass, cameras flashing one last time before security swept them back. Villanova recruit departs for IMG Academy. The headline was already running. Jordan shifted his backpack on his shoulders. Inside, wrapped carefully between his sneakers and jersey, was the envelope, his father's letter. He touched it once, quietly, before walking toward the gate. "Pop," he whispered under his breath, "I'm on my way. You and Ma got me here. Now I'll take us the rest of the way." Marcia heard him and squeezed his hand. "Don't look back, baby. The world's waiting for you." They stepped forward together, past the crowd, past the glass, past the island that had raised him. The roar of the plane engines filled his ears as Jordan looked out at the vast sky stretching wide over the Caribbean. The storms had tried to break him. The jealousy, the doubt, the bruises, all of it had only made him stronger. He was no longer just Jordan from the projects. He was Jordan Parker, the island son, carrying his father's letter and his mother's dreams into a future only he could write. And as the plane lifted off, the island below growing smaller, Jordan whispered the same promise he had made every night since his 16th birthday. "I won't quit. Not on Ma, not on myself."